Good afternoon. My name is Alfreda. I'm the marketing manager for Serge Ferrari North America. And today we're talking about working with architects to win jobs, which will be presented by Emma Patterson. She is our key accounts manager for Solar Protection and Façades. If you have any questions, you can use the chat icon, and we'll take all the questions at the end of the presentation. Emma, take it away.
Thank you, Elfrida, and hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about working with architects, the nuances, and the support that we provide each other while we're going after these large-scale jobs typically. So I am the key account OEM manager for facade and solar protection, as Elfrida mentioned, and I also manage the architectural specification side for Serge Ferrari. So if any architect projects come up, that type of thing, we would be working together on that no matter what the market is. Typically it is solar protection or tensile architecture, acoustics. There's a broad variety facade of things that architects would specify using fabric. So my email address and cell phone are up on the slide. Feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I'm going to get into some details of how we will work together to win more work with architects. I'll start by looking at the challenges. It's hard work, but it can really pay off because there are great benefits as well. I'll review the architectural specification process in general and some of the common architectural questions. And then, of course, review some of those answers. Encourage you to reach out directly to me when those questions come up so we can work together. And I'll review our resources available from Serge Ferrari. And I'm sure there are some things that you had no idea that we had available for architects that you can keep in your back pocket for when you're working with architects. And throughout the presentation, I'm showing some of these very large scale projects that come out of the result of working with architects. One of the big challenges is that these project timelines are very far in the future. We'll look at the process and how long it takes for an architect to start thinking about designing a project, or their bidding process to start designing a project, to when construction is actually complete, or when in the construction process we get to the fabric side of things, can be years. And so it definitely requires some foresight and some patience, but it really can work out or pay off. And once you start out doing that work and do that startup time, then the work will progressively come back to you and you'll be getting more and more leads, and it won't be so active as much as sitting back and waiting for those big projects to come to you. So other challenges are that often public jobs will go to bid. So you'll maybe be working with architects up front, putting in time, providing them lots of technical design questions, samples, and then lo and behold, which it's a very clear process, but the project will go to bid and you'll still be up against other low bidders. So part of the work that we'll do is working on those specifications to lock in your position so that you understand the project the best and can provide the most competitive quote to the general contractors and win the work in the end as well. Many of these challenges can be overcome by partnering with the manufacturer. So that's why I'm talking today about how we work together to win this work. The benefits of working with architects are really that consistent pipeline of large projects. You get to do creative things, they're high margin. Instead of sending a crew out to just install a single shade sail, you may be doing an entire rooftop patio and a courtyard for a large scale project. And so it really expands the size and scale of the project that you're going to do and the creativity that you get to work on. Often, subcontractors' names will be listed directly in the specifications, and that will lead you to more calls from general contractors. When they're sending this out to bid, they will see your name and your phone number often in the specifications. And so you are always going to get those calls when the project is out to bid. It could even be a project that you didn't work with specifically the architect on. Maybe 3 years ago, you worked on a project with them and they were really happy. And then From there on, your name is always in their specifications, and so you'll get those calls. So like I said, you'll get to the point once you've put in the upfront work of being able to sit back and let these projects come to you. It's really a relationships game, and we're building relationships with these architects and these general contractors. And once they know that they have trusted partners that do high quality work, they will come back to you over and over again. Sometimes that can lead to last looks on bids. Sometimes that can lead to negotiated work that doesn't go out to bid. And so it's all about proving yourself and your capability of meeting their high expectations. We have to meet those challenges. We have to answer the technical questions, the samples available, the project examples. Together, when we do that, we're going to win this work. And it can also lead to recognition in trade magazines and awards nominations, because these large scale projects are the type that architects will submit to the trade magazines for awards. Serge Ferrari also submits projects for awards. And so then you are featured in that at no cost to you. And again, it just drives more work to your doorstep. And it's the fun kind of stuff, the creative stuff, the beautiful work that we get to do. And I am here to support you along with the rest of the Serge Ferrari team. So I'm going to do a quick overview of the architectural specification process. I'm sure that you're all familiar with the bidding process when it comes to you, which I have highlighted here, subcontractor bidding. But the work begins way, way before that, years before that on the architectural scale timeline. First, the owners and developers, of course, decide that they're going to build this project, and then it will actually go out to bid to the architects. So the architects themselves must submit proposals and bids, and often those successful working relationships are key. Often there are interviews and as the owner and developer select the architect. That could be years before the project ever crosses your desk. Then the architectural process, again, can be quite long and drawn out, and they have some very specific stages. The first is pre-design. Just the name itself gives you an idea about how far down the road that is. Then we have schematic design, where they start putting together sketches, but there aren't any real details in the project. We get a little more detail as you move through each stage, and the stages can take anywhere from a few months to over a year per stage. Then we get into design development, and now maybe the architects are doing more product selection, where previously they were just thinking about how they wanted it to look and feel. In design development, they start talking about performance characteristics, energy performance. They do the modeling, and then they'll go all the way to construction documents, which is where we're really building together, building those details. Those are the exact documents that the project will actually be built on and certified by, that the architectural stamp is certified. So that's where you get into every detail of where does every single grommet go, where does every single light switch go. And once those construction documents are complete, and along with them are the specifications, then the project goes out to bid, but not to your desk, to a general contractor bid. And the general contractors go through the stage of bidding the job, often interviews, coming in as a team. Part of the general contractor's job is the value engineering process, where they evaluate every single hope and dream of the architect and the actual costs and budget. Now, architects will do preliminary budgeting, but they don't really get into the nitty-gritty about exactly how much that's going to cost, and that's part of the general contractor bidding process. And of course, we want to create a high-quality project for the lowest costs. And so that's the value engineering process, which is something that Serge Ferrari can assist with as well. Have a more competitive option. Maybe the general contractor or the architects aren't familiar with fabrics and they're looking to use metal, where they'll learn that you can actually save money and have more design flexibility by using fabric. That's something that I chase after, are those metal jobs where we can offer them value and to further our chances at winning that work. Eventually, finally, the job crosses your desk and you get a chance to bid it. Maybe you know the general contractor, maybe you don't. It obviously helps your case if you do, but you still usually comes down to the lowest bid. And then you need to be able to make money on that job, right? So you only want to win work with the lowest bid where you know it's going to be profitable to you. So my proposition is that together we work and go all the way back to the design development stage with the architects. And that's where we want to come in so that we have control and that we are assisting them and that we really have a full understanding of the project so we can get competitive and win more work and build those relationships up front. I know it's not simple, but it is worth it and you'll get the hang of it, and I'm here to support you throughout the whole thing. So then once that all goes to bid, then you guys know well the project award and the construction start stage. This is an example. This is an interior shade project in Europe that we recently won, and working with the architect was pivotal because we wanted to share with them, who then share with the owners, the value of the using the high quality Serge Ferrari project. That's our new Soltis Touch fabric. Shameless pitch for my What's New in Solar Protection presentation. That's the other one I'm giving here at IFAI. Don't forget to visit that one next week. So let's take a quick look at some of the commonly asked questions that you're going to get from architects when you're working with them. You will notice on this list that some of these are questions that I don't know the answer to, and some are the questions that you don't know the answer to. And that's really where our partnership becomes key in working with architects to win this work and building those relationships and becoming trusted partners. It's really a partnership, both you and me, you and the architect, and me and the architect. One of the most commonly asked questions I get from architects is, what is the price? And that is a question that I never answer because it's not my place. I sell the fabric to you. You then create the structure that the architect has designed. And so I always will defer them to a subcontractor and a fabricator when the price question comes up. So keep that in mind. And of course, then I can give you my price, but I just don't give the architects my material price because to them it's meaningless. What really matters is the actual fabricated and installed price. I often do answer architects' questions of which is the correct fabric for the application. They maybe have an idea of the color or the feel or the performance, but they don't necessarily know exactly which Serge Ferrari fabric is going to work best for them. So that's something where I would consult with them on what is the size, the scale, what are your goals for, or do you want it to be waterproof? Do you want to let air in? Are you just trying to block heat? What are your goals in the design process? And then we can get down to some options. I'll send them samples of those fabrics and color options so they can touch them and feel them. And then we'll get down to which the best application is. And that's another question that maybe I would pull a fabricator into because you have experience actually working with the fabric in these applications and creating the structures. And so together we can provide that expertise to an architect. I mentioned the samples. They also do a lot of daylighting assessments for buildings. They want to know how much daylight is available to the occupants in the building from both an energy standpoint and an occupant comfort standpoint. So we have extensive solar and light properties of that. There are engineers who are maybe designing a larger structure who will need some strength data. I'll go into it in a couple slides, but that data may go far beyond what's just available on the back of my brochure, and I have much more information available than that. You just have to ask. They will also ask about CSI specifications. That's Construction Specification International, and they have standards for writing out exactly what's supposed to be used in the projects. And so I actually have guide specs available for them, which saves the architects a lot of work. If they say, okay, I want to put in a fabric facade, they don't have to start from scratch and write that standardized specification form. They can just take mine, pick out the right color and the right performance specs and have it done. They'll ask about material composition. They'll ask about installation and system details. Now the composition would come to me. The installation and system details would go to you. As I mentioned, this is a major team effort. They'll want to know about warranty. They may ask about product lifetime and durability. Maintenance requirements is a big one that comes up. And in fact, we do have a maintenance guide. They like to see photos of similar projects. Sometimes I have those photos. Sometimes you have those photos. And so another friendly friendly reminder, please send us great project photos. We always love featuring them in our social media and saving them for when an architect asks. And when I send a project photo to an architect, I will always tell them who the subcontractor was that completed it so that they can reach out and we can start building up that rapport to win that work together. And sometimes they want to visit similar projects in person. That's another case where I might reach out to you and say, hey, in your general area, are there any projects where this architect is working where I could send them? It obviously, working with architects, I mentioned one of the challenges is that they have a lot of questions. And so we just have to grin and bear it because it will pay off in the end to just answer their questions and work with them on whatever questions they have. Take a look at the resources available from Serge Ferrari, some of which I'm guessing you don't know about. First of all, what I'm working to do is bring architectural work to you. As I mentioned, as soon as an architect asks me how much is this going to cost, I pull you in. And so I'm going to be bringing those projects to you all around the country. One of the ways that I get to that point with an architect is that I have a continuing education presentation for them. AIA is the American Institute of Architects, and it requires architects who have their license to get a certain number of continuing education credits every year. And so Serge Ferrari has created a presentation that gives the architects those credits. It's often given as a lunch and learn. Of course, we're doing those digitally these days, but it still works. And my goal whenever I give one of these presentations is to walk away with one project lead, because no doubt that if an architect took an hour out of their day to come learn about architectural fabrics, they're working on a project. And so I will really engage with them and have a conversation until I know exactly what I can be helping them with. Serge Ferrari utilizes other lead generation tools as well. We participate in Dodge, which is a construction database of projects. And so that's a place where I'm finding projects, finding architects to reach out to. And then we also have existing relationships and reputations all around the country. So architects come to us. They fill out a form on our website. They send me an email. It's people that we've worked with before. It's people that are familiar with our projects. They know our long history, and they've been really happy with the combination of performance and design flexibility that they get from the Serge Ferrari fabrics. And so a lot of those projects come directly to us. And again, my goal is to then bring that to you so that we can work together to win these big jobs. We have lots of marketing materials. I'm sure you guys know some of our sample cards and our swatches, but we also have architectural brochures. And I want to just be clear that if you are ever working with an architect and they want something, if it's easier for you to shoot me an email and ask me to send it, rather than you go back to the office, find what they're looking for, put it in an envelope, get it out to their address, feel free to do that. We love to send dropship samples to architects. That's a resource available for you. We have every single fabric and color in stock in these A4 samples, which is our 8x11 approximately swatches of fabric. I can send those out to architects all over the country. We can even, in certain special cases, send a sample yard. I like to encourage architects to see it, to tape it up to their window, to take it outside and really get a feel for it so that they'll fall in love with it. I mentioned we have brochures, we have project examples. So if you ever get a sample request from an architect and you want my assistance, don't hesitate to reach out, because it's no problem. I have a whole team working on that, and they're wonderful. And we have a whole room in our warehouse full of samples ready for you to ask me to send them to an architect. One of our biggest pushes this year was our Back to Business brochure. We sent this to around 1,000 architects and sent it out to their offices so that they could be inspired on how fabrics can help us get back to business. And that includes pergolas, umbrellas, patio furniture, easy to clean surfaces that provide places where restaurant and hospitality and schools and everyone in between can open up their business and make money again, because we want to get this economy going. And so we are working together to do that. So we have this great resource. So we mailed that out to the architects. And actually right now, every architect that I work with, I send them one of these just so that they have it in their hand if we're working on our project. Sometimes they don't know what they need until we show them, right? The resources go on. So now this is more on the technical side of things. We have a product management team in France that is a great technical resource. They get back to me quickly. This may be that an engineer or a designer needs some detailed information. I know that you can't really see it, but there's our solar protection value, our solar values for some Solstice 88 that you see here for the different colors. The data that we have goes far beyond what's on the back of the sample cards. And so all you have to do is ask, because often they do need very specific data. So we have that available. The picture on the top right is a screenshot of one of those CSI specifications that I mentioned. That's a standard form that those architects can just work right into their construction documents. We have a cleaning and maintenance guide, which owners love. We have all of the fire certifications, and we have green building certifications as well. We are Green Guard Gold certified with UL. You can see that down in the middle. We also have BIM, which is Building Information Modeling tools available. So that's when they're pulling in an energy analysis of the whole building and how the different components are going to perform. And so we have BIM models that they can work directly into their software to do that analysis. So if anyone ever asks about BIM, you can say, yes, Serge Ferrari has those available. We assist with the lead point calculations. There's very specific, calculations and information you need about the products, and we're always happy to help with that. And I also, this is something that is very important to architects, is understanding the high quality of the product. They want something that's going to make them look good in 10 or 20 years, right? If they design a project because think about this too. I mentioned that architects are bidding for work. They are also building relationships with owners. And so they also need to put their name on their work and have it look high quality. So when we can start to talk about our proprietary manufacturing technologies that really make the difference of the high quality Serge Ferrari fabric, like our pre-constraints or our smart yarn with thermal fixing, that speaks to the architects. Now, you get different architects. Some of them want to get down and dirty with the technical details, and some of them just want to have a bunch of different colors to look at on their desk. And so we don't discriminate. We like to make them all happy and make them all fall in love with Serge Ferrari fabric, and then I will take that lead and bring it right over to you. So that was a lot of information, so feel free to reach out to me directly. There's my email address and cell phone number again, and look forward to seeing some leads coming your way from our architectural specification projects. And don't forget to leave your business card so you can win some Bose noise canceling headphones in our booth. So thank you for visiting us at IFAI. Any questions?
And if you have any questions, use the chat feature, and we'll be happy to answer them. One question here is, how do I get copies of the Back to Business brochure?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. So we sent those automatically out to architects. But if you want to just drop in the chat to Elfrida, or if you want to send me an email, my email address is up on the slide right now, emma.patterson@sergeferrari.com. I will get those right out to you. We have those in our warehouse in Florida, so I can send those to you and you can take them around town. Anything else?
I do not see any other questions. So Emma, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.